Sigmund Freud and many other psychologists agree that one of the most important times of an individual's life is when they are children. When you're a child, you're impressionable. You can be molded, you can be directed, you can be transformed, you can be led, you can have an experience that dictates your future and your future actions and behaviors. We focus a lot on at times on childhood development. I personally got into psychology because as a child, I felt broken, I felt misunderstood, I felt alone, I felt like I totally could not relate to people around me. And I thought that I could find the answers in psychology. So this is what I do, this is who I am. But a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on childhood development, and they do put a lot of emphasis on parenting. But I think one of the things that is causing us as a society to go downhill is the fact that parents are not always held accountable. We talk about systems where a lot of things fall between the cracks, where not every case is highlighted, where not every child gets the tools that they need to survive or to overcome. But what is very interesting, we talk about the five love languages. I have nothing against the five love languages. I think it's a great book. But what I do have an issue with is the fact that people who do not know what love is read the book, The Five Love Languages, and feel that that can solve and resolve their problems. If you don't know how to truly love, if you don't know what authentic love is, and you try to apply the love languages, you will have some resistance. You are going to meet resistance. One of the biggest love languages that I would like to promote is the fact that as individuals, as parents, especially when from a relationship perspective, when you're in a relationship and children are involved, your first priority is to your children. Your first priority is to make sure that your children are not just taken care of, but your first priority is to make sure that their mental health remains intact in the relationship and throughout the relationship that you're having with your significant other. Most times our children fall between the crack when we are in the midst of turbulence or chaos in relationships. Children suffer, and a result of that suffering is that you have a lot of children that grow up to be adults, and then they go into relationships and they themselves perpetrate or continue a generational curse or generational behavior that results in a society that continually is trying to undo the process. The process starts with you. If you're married, if you're unmarried, if you're in whatever type of relationship you're in, whether it's heterosexual, whether it's same sex, whether it's, whatever the family unit looks like for you, your first responsibility in the relationship is to the well-being of your children. You should not be arguing with children in the room. This is a known fact, but it doesn't change the fact that it occurs. You should not be abusing your children mentally or verbally, and they should not be witnessing such abuse between you and your partner, your spouse, or your spouse. But it happens nonetheless. People stay in relationships because they don't want to be alone. People stay in relationships because of financial reasons, because they can't make it on their own. But if you're going to make decisions and choices like that that will impact not only you, but your children, you need to really think long and hard on whether or not this is something that your children should pay for or not pay for. Children are affected by dysfunctional relationships, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of times when you're angry, you don't have time to figure out, you know what, now is not a good time to go at my spouse. Now is not a good time to be confrontational or to avoid conflict. That's not how our minds work. If you're in a relationship that has gone too far down the road and you know that this is affecting other people other than you, do the responsible thing. Check yourself. Ask yourself, am I responsible enough? If not for myself, can I make a responsible decision for my future? Because your children, like Michael Jackson said, are your future. Your children will carry on your dynasty and your legacy. Why impair your legacy? Why stop a prosperous future? Why stop the proliferation of something beautiful because you refuse to do the work, refuse to put in the additional work that's necessary to help your children become better than you were? A lot of us are victims of prior circumstances and situations that have crippled us. A lot of us are victims of abuse, narcissistic parents, parents who did not know who they are, parents who were children themselves, parents who were hurting themselves and carry a lot of that pain and hurt. I mean, we live in a society, especially the African American society. I can't talk about any other society or culture. We're now coming into the aspect of sharing because a lot of what we took for granted is not normal. Nobody told us that it wasn't normal to get hit with a shoe. I mean, I grew up in Barbados, and a lot of that behavior was normal. No police ever showed up at my mother's house. They should have, but they didn't. And I was fine with that because it was part of the culture. But as we are becoming more educated, as we are becoming more knowledgeable about the things that wound the spirit, the things that destroy the spirit, we have to take accountability for our actions. We need to take accountability for the things that we actually plant. The seeds that we plant right now will germinate and become trees at some point. Stop. If you're in an abusive relationship, whether it's verbally or physically abusive, if you're in a relationship where there's alcoholism or drug addiction or drug use, please look out for the children. Please protect your children. It is your only responsibility as a parent to protect those who did not ask to come here to this realm. We were entrusted with these beings, not because sometimes we may not have planned for them, but they're here. And because they came to us, we have a social responsibility to do right by our children. This is my plea to you who are in relationships that are dysfunctional and do not know how to get out or do not understand why you should get out. If it's affecting your children, please give it a second thought, or two, or three, and do right. Do right by the generation that you are helping develop. My name is Ingrid Felton. As always, thank you for visiting the YouTube channel. I hope that these were words of inspiration, that they may have touched your heart in some way. Please share this video with others if that was the case. Bring other people, tell them what I'm doing here, subscribe to the videos, like the videos, and continue to leave your comments. Again, thank you. And I hope that you will take heed that we need to start by making the next generation better than the one that we came from. Bye-bye.